you? Yeah. Loves to grind my gears. Eats it. God, I'm always bringing it.
I don't want to trample all over your court, aka your rights.
You know what? I should be good for right now. What? I'm 100% and I'm on power save mode. I'm on low power mode. Yo, talking to the message right?
That's it. Oh, watch that live stream.
Oh, I look Westfield.
4-hour meeting. What, like Chris? That's the duty.
You on duty tonight? Yeah. Actually, quite. If you leave early,
I thought the duty phone was a
you're
book.
good.
No, I was used to
I call to order the March 4th meeting of the Student Government Association. We are live streamed and recorded. Please review your agendas while Jacob does roll call.
Nicholas Palumbo.
Here.
Anderson Dallaire.
Here.
Isabella Moniz.
Here.
William Connor.
Here.
Travis McLaughlin.
Here.
Brenda Giuliani.
Here.
Aviana Lee Salters. Will Honorado. Jacob Trainer.
Here.
Cody Washington.
Here.
Sophia Rubencheck.
Here.
Melissa Kosmeski.
Here.
Raymond Croto.
Here.
Barney Garcia. Ethan Mollinson.
Here.
Ali Sutherland.
Here.
Troyo Nosal.
Here.
Angelina Casella.
Here.
Giancarlo Artiega. Marissa Montero. SAC Representative. Christopher Lannon.
Here.
Irene Mahida.
Here.
Akila Fake. Nope. Shouldn't do that. Benny Rosas. Dominic Zyko.
Here.
Peru Sharma.
Here. Are there any corrections to the minutes from our February 25th meeting? Seeing none, the minutes are approved.
And now for your President's report, Joseph Bonilla.
Well, good evening, everyone. It's good to be back and see all of y'all's faces. Thank you all for joining us tonight. It's truly wonderful to be back, and I sincerely appreciate your patience and support during my brief hiatus. Last week, I want to take a moment to share that my hiatus will had officially concluded yesterday. If y'all hadn't seen my email, now you know. If there is anything that you wanted to discuss with me while I was away, I encourage you all to meet with me during my office hours, which remain the same on Mondays from 2 to 4 p.m. and on Wednesdays from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. To ensure that we coordinate effectively, because my office hours get packed really quickly, just make sure that you send me a message via Teams, my president Instagram, or an email, and I'll be able to coordinate a time for us to chat, because I want to make sure that we are able to do so. And obviously, as we're navigating this year and this time, I recognize that it may be challenging to balance both your academics and your personal life at this current point, especially in the midst of midterms and such, to make sure that you're taking care of yourselves and doing the appropriate measures to really keep yourselves on track for the semester. And it's important that we normalize these conversations because we're all people, and at the end of the day, your well-being is the most important thing. While we hold each of you to high standards, we also value the necessity of rest, reflection, and self-care. So our work is really important, but so are all of you. That said, on a brighter note, as I shared in my message to you all, I'm really excited about this. I don't know, I'm pretty stoked. In less than 4 weeks, the sun is going to be setting at 7 p.m. I think that deserves a round of applause. I need the sun, I need to wear my shorts, it's that time of year, but anyways, moving on. So I'd like to introduce our guest speaker tonight. Tonight we have a special guest, John Zocco from Residential Life. He will be providing a preview of StarRes, our new housing selection portal. So please welcome me in please join me in welcoming him to the stage.
Thank you for having me tonight. I do know you have a long night tonight, so I'm going to do a very quick kind of overview and showing you of our system. Definitely have to come back again. We have more time to answer other questions out there. I just wanted to do a kind of a quick preview for all of you going forward. So what you may or may not know, I think we talked about this before, we are having a new system going live partially this semester. Going to be replacing my housing director next year. What we're doing right now is we're using this system for selection only. We still have my housing, so they can answer any questions or confusion when we do use this. All your work orders, everything you do right now through room change application, spring break, things like that, still through my housing. This is only going to be used for housing selection. We're going with the new system because the old system, our contract was starting to end. We're looking, this one is going to be sunsetted, we think, in the next year or two. So we're taking this as an opportunity to try to find something different, hopefully be better, more user-friendly, and have more options for that one. So what I wanted to show is what the page is going to look like, what the housing agreement is going to look like. I can take a couple of questions out there again, but I think if you do have more questions about selection, we're still working some details out, I can always come back or we set up a time to chat. So this is what the housing portal is going to look like. We're going to have some adjustments. And we'll preface this right now. This is still in some of the development phase. We plan to be done ideally this week, if not early next week. Students, when they come forward and they do the housing agreement, it's going to be a lot easier. We're going to have a button up here for housing application. There's going to be other information here as well. This is going to be built out more as we go along. This is a test one out there. Going to show kind of what the application process will be. Obviously, we have a test on here right now. The students will click this. They have the opportunity to pick the terms or what's out there. There's only going to be one showing right now when you do go forward and do this. But you're going to be able to go through the application process. One nice thing about this, I kind of started doing this already. Once you complete your agreement, you're going to be able to go through go back to the different parts of the agreement. Hopefully, it'll be easier. You don't need to make changes, look at things. We're trying to have this be a more user-friendly process. We're still going to have the same part in area where you're able to put down personal details. We're going to have chosen deferred name options out here. We're going to ask for our same kind of information that we normally ask for. We have the ability to go to opt-out text messages. We're looking at trying to potentially add in a text messaging portion to our platform. So we're going to ask for some of those details. We're going to have a emergency contact guardian page on here as well. It's not built in yet. One thing we're going to be doing this year is we're doing roommate profile questions and giving the option for every student, returning and new students, to complete this. We hope that this will help those who are trying to round out your roommate groups. Going in solo, if you're trying to find someone to pair up with, trying to give some more of those options for that. We're adding we're going to have about 13 questions on here. These are some of them right now. We're going to ask some more on here, ranging from questions on preference for cleaning. If you want to have noise, okay, what noise you need for sleeping. So try to ask some of those main questions in here to help gauge people to know what they're looking for. This is optional. You don't need to fill this out. You do need to click a button out at the bottom here saying to add yourself into the search to be able to add roommates out there. But you can choose to not necessarily answer these questions out here. First year and returns will have this. You may remember we had My College Roommate before, which you can go off to the link, fill it out, and it will feed back into the system. This is all self-contained now, hopefully making it easier for everyone. So students can fill that out. We do have another page here as well. We're going to ask some questions. This area right here are more internal questions we're asking. It's not going to be something that's searchable by students. So we're asking questions about international support animals, if you're comfortable living with them. We do have an area for housing accommodations. We'll be asking some questions in here about living and learning communities. If you didn't know, we do have 2 right now that have an application out there. We're going to kind of build it into here for our honors, actually 3 for our honors, living and learning community, a JEDI, and for our performing and fine arts. So there'll be a button on here for people to select. One nice thing about this system now, and we're looking to do with our living learning communities as well. For some of these out here, if I were to hit no, this is for an accommodations one, hit save and continue, we're going to the agreement. This system is actually smart enough that if I were to hit yes onto this one, it will then take me to a new page. So we're trying to make it easier for students to know if they're going to certain areas, that they're going to be able to direct them to certain things. If you hit yes for a living learning community one, our goal is to have a living learning community tab open up here as well. So you have links for things as well. So trying to make it so, we're trying to guide people and trying to make it easier for students to follow through on this. Nice thing too, if they don't follow through this link right now, they come back to it, this page will still be here. So if they need to go back to it and look for more things for accommodations, we're able to do that as well. I'll put a side note there, talking with disability services, they did have a deadline already for students looking for accommodations. So if you know people who need one or have one or need to renew one and haven't already, have them reach out to disability services now. I believe that the deadline had passed, but they will still be looking at them. So just a general note on that. As students continue, I'm going to have the agreement up here. I'm going to update it with the newest one. And you guys passed, you had to sign it or kind of type your name in. This year, you'll be putting in your A number, which hopefully can make it a little more secure, a little more directed to you. This is a WA number. If I were to put something else differently in there, try to continue, I'm going to get an error. I put in my A number. It's going to continue on here as well. So once you do that and continue, we now get to the area of roommate groups. This is being built out a little bit more, but here's where we're talking about before for roommates and being able to, by doing that portal. We have a button on here called Suggest Roommates. If you were to click on that, we only have one person there right now, it will let you know who's in the system. If you match or not, like right now, there's actually one of our IDs, you kind of did the temporary one. I'm able to add them to a group. You can send them a message in the system, which will send them an email, but also come up with messages in your account here as well. You're also able to do a profile. So you're able to click the profile and then see how they answered it and see, are we going to be a good match? So if you don't know who the people are, you're going to be able to try to use this to try to find a match. By hopefully building it into the system, it's going to be much easier for students to try to connect, try to find people, try to round out your group. We are still going to have the same thing we did before, where you need to add and match and verify. You will need to be a neutral match. So if I'm trying to add Joseph to my group, Joseph needs to say yes to the group. If you're added, if you're removed, or the group is deleted, they will be emailed. So you can't stealth delete someone and have them not know. There will be a notification so they know if someone has been removed from a group. Hopefully that's not going to happen. We know things can occur. That's something where the system will talk and communicate for that one. You're able to join groups. You're able to do searches by details. Right now, there's some information on here as well. We're probably gonna remove the screen name. I don't think that's something someone can create. We're likely gonna do what we've done before, having the first chosen name and last name. We probably may include the gender and age as well. But this is another way as well as someone can do a search as well. And this is a simple thing. If I were to add someone to a group, I can add a group. And then this kind of starts getting us into a category groups out there as well. We're going to have information. I'm going to have kind of walk through guys. I'm just trying to show this quickly so you have a visual sense for that one, and we will let people know how to do it. For the most part, it'll be similar to the past, but hopefully with a few changes. Then once you're in a group, you're going to be in a holding page until we get to the selection process. So that's kind of a quick little look. Actually, over here, messages. So I had one earlier where I deleted a group. It says deleted. And here's another one here now. I didn't even put a group name out there, but it's saying that that the person has been added to the group. So you're able to kind of see that as well. And these also come in email as well. I want to pause there to see if any either pause if the questions are to kind of give a little bit more information about selection, not only each other.
If you'd like to give some brief remarks on selection, you're welcome.
I'll give you two quick things. I know we saw an email last week about some of the work happening in apartment complexes and areas like that. Apartment complexes will be open for a portion of it. They're probably the biggest thing for that. We're going to have Seymour open for the fall. And the spring semester students who are in Seymour are going to be moving over to Conlin in order to get work done. Welch being work over the summertime. We're indicating that you're coming for an early arrival. Welch is probably not your best option. We're anticipating to be open in time, but just in case something's a little bit delayed by a week or two, we're saying it's going to be an early arrival, opting not for Welch. And our current plan right now, in order to not limit as many apartment styles out there, is to have Seymour go back to 6-person apartments instead of the 4 persons. We try not to have as many apartment styles removed. In Welch, the AB towers will be 4-person undergrads. CD will be 4-person grad students. So that's what's going on there.
Thank you, John. Are there any questions, comments, concerns for John Zocco? Jacob Constant?
Thank you so much, John, for coming down. This all looks incredible. As a computer guy and just like that loves websites and tech, this looks amazing. But I do have a question. What will happen for the groups that I want to sit that are possibly losing a roommate due to graduation, and will that affect any of their process going forward in the selection process?
You're trying to come this year for next year?
Going from this year to next year.
It wouldn't remove, you still need to match up in the system out there. So you need to have that step beforehand. So if you know someone's graduating, then that would impact your group. If you're, say, a 4-person rank or 4-person or 6-person 6, you still probably want to fill that area out there. We're still anticipating doing what we did in the past, and we're looking into some adjustments of filling bedrooms, not necessarily filling full apartments, because sometimes people can't always do the 6-person ones. So that's kind of what we're thinking right now. So that would be just one thing out there as well. It may mean that you might want to ask someone if you're going in for a 4-person 2 doubles and you're only for 3, just knowing that you wouldn't necessarily be able to fill that unless you had a 4 person.
Thank you so much.
Evelyn Ayala?
Yeah, so I'm in a single.
Would you
Will I
mind
be able
raising
to
your
use?
hand?
Oh,
Would you mind raising?
yeah, so I'm in a single. Will I be able to use this to choose my suite mates for next year, rather than roommates, since I don't have roommates because of medical accommodations?
Yeah, so if you're going, so as soon as you're doing your accommodations, we will be working with you through accommodations a little bit for that one. But in general, if it's not an accommodation process, just for singles going through it, you can then use this to group up. There'll basically be one person will be the earliest time, and they will be the side people out there as well. Through accommodations, it's a little different. We do usually put this earlier, and we'll be working on kind of how that works with your base.
Thank you, Evelyn. Are there any further questions, comments, concerns? Dominic Zocco?
Hello. There is also there's also talks of Glamour's being shut down. Is there any premium singles anywhere else on campus that would be available next semester?
Yeah. So Lammers won't be open for the fall, so that is going to be turned off in the fall and the spring. I think as far as that looks like right now, we don't have anything fully planned for that one. Dickinson is likely, if you're going to be able to offer them, will probably be in there. We do have some within the apartment complex within the Super Single and Welch. I think that if we're able to offer them, we want to offer them. We know students who like those. So we're going to probably be seeing our numbers and where we can do for them. We're going to try to get them in there if we can, but we first want to make sure we get to everyone before we do that. So that might be something we open up over the summertime too, once we kind of see where things are.
Thank you, Dominic. Are there any further questions, comments, concerns for John Zocco? Seeing none, thank you, John.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, John, once again. Hello again, everyone. So yes. So I mean, we have an exciting couple of weeks coming up. I know that the end of semester is going to be wrapping up very, very quickly. Spring semester is always the fastest, in my opinion. But we have a lot of exciting things coming up, including Owl Ball, Owl Celebration, the SGA Banquet, and more excitingly, another team bonding trip. We are hoping to garner some of y'all's feedback to find something that meets the interests of all of the senators in the room. So please feel free to share those thoughts, ideas, concerns, etc. during my question, comments, concerns section, and we'll be able to put those into due consideration. I do have upcoming meetings with the Governor's Commission in the coming weeks, as well with the Director of Belonging, Inclusion, and Learning tomorrow, actually, and our own Vice President of Enrollment Management and Student Affairs in the next week. If there's anything that you would like me to bring up during these meetings and discussions, please feel free to let me know, and I'll be sure to include those in my remarks with them. Additionally, tonight may be one of our longer meetings, unfortunately, but it's exciting because we're getting really great work done as we will be reviewing the Constitution because our Constitution Review Committee has finally finalized their work, and we'll be discussing various amendments and suggestions. I ask you all to engage meaningfully in these conversations. I know they might be a little long and big words, but it's really, really important that we engage with this process because it's only done every 3 years, and it definitely has a significant weight. That said, I also want to make sure that we're ensuring that we're working efficiently and productively in these conversations to make sure that we're being conscious of everyone's time. That said, I would like to make you all aware that at some point during tonight's meeting, we are going to recess for a brief period. We did order pizza for you all to get some sort of meal while we get through today's meeting in respect to the fact that it's longer than usual. That said, I would like to make 2 new appointments onto our Senate. So if Evelyn Aiello can stand and rise for me, I would like to appoint Evelyn Aiello as the Davis Hall representative, for the remainder of the fall 24, spring 25 academic year.
So moved.
It has been moved and seconded to appoint Evelyn Aiello, is that how you pronounce it?
Aiello.
Thank you for correcting me. Evelyn Aiello, sorry, as the Davis Hall representative for the remainder of the spring 2025 semester. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns on this nomination? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Nomination is confirmed.
And if Jacob Trainer could please rise for me. So obviously we all know Jacob. He is has served as one of our reps to Senate for the class of 2028 in his role so far this year. He recently was interviewed and was given the position. So I am here to confirm and motion to appoint Jacob Trainer as the president of the class of 2028 for the remainder of the fall 24, spring 25 academic year.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to appoint Jacob Trainer as the class of 2028's president. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns on this nomination? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Nomination is confirmed.
Now, before I wrap up, many of you may have seen my email earlier this afternoon, evening, I don't know when it went out, probably early in the day, regarding an official statement from the Student Government Association's Executive Council reaffirming our commitment to belonging, inclusion, and equity. I'll go ahead and read that for y'all in case y'all didn't have an opportunity to read it, and also people who might be live streaming this. The following statement was developed by myself and members of our Executive Council and has been approved for publication by the SGA Executive Council yesterday, so I'll go ahead and read it. The Student Government Association reaffirms our commitment to fostering a culture of belonging, inclusion, and equity in all aspects of our governance and advocacy. As representatives of the student body, we recognize that every student arrives at Westfield State from different walks of life, carrying unique experiences, identities, and perspectives. It is a responsibility to ensure that all students feel seen, heard, and supported in their academic, social, and personal journeys. For over 100 years now, the Student Government Association has embodied the principle of owls advocating for owls. And as we celebrate our centennial year, we remain dedicated to continuing this tradition. Our legacy is built on the belief that student leadership is a force for positive change, and we will carry this mission forward for generations to come. Now more than ever, it is critical that we focus on taking care of one another rather than contributing to divisiveness. Through our actions, we aim to strengthen the ties that unite us as a community and ensure that every student has the opportunity to succeed. This year, the SGA is focusing on 3 key initiatives: civic engagement, investing in people and process, and celebrating community and legacy. We aim to foster an engaged student body by providing opportunities for civic engagement and empowering students to make a meaningful impact. By revitalizing the role of our senators and aligning our Constitution with the needs of our student body, we seek to enhance professional development and improve organizational effectiveness. Additionally, we are working to strengthen campus pride, spirit, and promote belonging and celebrating diversity through teamwork and collaboration across all registered student organizations. These efforts ensure every student has the resources and the support to thrive in an inclusive community. We are committed to cultivating an environment where all students, regardless of race, ethnicity, gender identity, sexual orientation, ability, socioeconomic status, religion, or background, are valued and empowered to thrive. Our work is guided by the fundamental principle of calling students in rather than out, fostering meaningful connections with one another, and upholding the dignity and respect of every out. This commitment is not just an ideal, it is the foundation of our work. Through advocacy, policy development, and student-centered initiatives, we have expanded opportunities for participation in governance, promoted equitable access to resources, and worked to amplify student voices in key decision-making processes. We have supported initiatives that prioritize student well-being, foster a sense of connection, and celebrate the rich diversity of our community. Westfield State has always been a place where education and community go hand in hand, and as we move forward, we recognize that fostering belonging requires action. We call on every member of our community to take an active role in building a campus that reflects our shared values of inclusivity and respect. Whether by engaging in meaningful conversations, advocating for positive change, or supporting fellow students, each of us has a role to play in ensuring that owls feel welcomed and valued. The SGA is honored to serve as the voice for the student body, and we remain dedicated to ensuring that Westfield State continues to be a place where every student can thrive. Together, let us uphold our commitment to belonging and inclusion, not just in words, but through intentional action that strengthens our university and own governance for the next 100 years. So that's a statement that we sent out. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have for my report. I'll end you guys all with the way that I usually do, with a quote. So again, thank you all for the work that you do for our organization and community. And I look forward to connecting with you all, or reconnecting with you all throughout the week. And the quote of the day today is by Robert Anthony, and it is the following: "Courage is simply the willingness to be afraid and act anyway." Let's have a great meeting.
Thank you, Joseph. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns for Joseph? Chris Landon?
Hi, Joseph. Thank you for your report. I just wanted to add something about the team bonding. I know for those who were here back in the fall of 2022, we did sort of a team building exercise at Springfield College, a ropes course, low ropes course. And maybe that could be something we could do. I've strongly advocated for it in the past couple semesters, and I think that would be just maybe an idea to throw out there. Also, I just want to give one shout out to Jacob Trainer. I've had the pleasure of knowing Jacob since my senior year of high school, as he was one of my cadets in JROTC as a platoon leader. And it's amazing to see you in this role. So I'm just so glad and so proud of you. And I'm sure everyone else would be in JROTC. So I just want to say that.
Thank you, Chris.
Are there any further questions, comments, or concerns? Irene Mejito?
Hey Joseph, quick question. Do you have any idea of what you're thinking about for the team bonding just for the future?
I would say somewhere in the coming weeks, definitely after break. We still have to discuss this as an executive council, so it really just depends on what works, because we have a lot on our calendar in April. So hopefully before that in March. But do you have any suggestions?
Not really, not at the moment, but I'll get back to you.
Of course. Are there any other suggestions?
Any further questions, comments, or concerns for Joseph O'Neill?
Before we end this, hands up if you want to do something outside.
Depending on the time of year.
Hands up if you want to do something recreational. All right. Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Joseph.
And now for your Board of Trustees, now for your Vice President's report of student life, Justin Wald.
So this is the one and only time you'll ever see me wear a hat, except I might wear one March 22nd, actually. I might wear all my super swaggy merch for Relay to Life. Thank you, Maggie, for the hat, by the way. It fell off the door when I left my one-on-one today. So help, I need somebody, help, not just anybody. You guys get it? We're only about 2 weeks away from Relay for Life, which means only about 18 days left to fundraise and spread awareness. And I'll also let you in on a little secret. Nobody has yet to take out the man, the myth, the legend, Dan Courier, as our team's top fundraiser. So hopefully that'll light a fire. No Doors fans here. Under you guys to join the team and beat Dan. A little more information. Relay for Life this year will include some amazing new sideline events that we did not have last year, including trivia, music, food, award for the most steps. That's fun, we like awards. And themed hours like the 80s. If you haven't already, please get it. Consider joining the team and either making a donation or participating and showing up to represent our team at the event anytime from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. on Saturday, March 22nd, which is the week we get back from spring break. So practice. If none of you go and I'm the only one there, I just have one thing to say. Who do you think you are? Running around leaving scars, collecting your jar of hearts. Got you guys 3 times. I'm on a roll and I feel fantastic. I hope you guys like the continuation of the relay merch, and maybe I'll have something new next meeting.
Are there any questions, comments, concerns for Justin Wald? Melissa Kosmeski?
I just want to say I bore my curtain this weekend. So I might pass.
Yes! Dominic Psycho.
As a point of information, that was a sick report and a sick hat.
Thank you. Do we get to keep it?
Yes.
Do we get to keep it?
How are you?
Are there any further? Angelina Casella?
Yeah. Point of information, there's also going to be booths that they're doing arts and crafts, henna, airbrushing, and the class of 2028 is trying to do a little jump rope competition. So, yeah, great stuff.
Wonderful, thank you. Are there any further questions, comments, or concerns for Justin Wald? Seeing none, thank you, Justin. And now for your Vice President's, or sorry, your Residential Life Committee report, Angelina Casella.
Hey guys! Res Life met for the first time last week on Friday, and we yapped about a lot. A lot of what we yapped about actually was already said, but I'll go over it briefly. So yeah, this fall, landlords will be offline for the 2025-2026 year until they decide how to best utilize it. Next, the apartments, which will be getting repairs over the summer, so it'll be up and running for the full year. Seymour will be offline for repairs in the spring, and Conlon will be offline in the fall. If you apply to live in either of these buildings, you would start in Seymour in the fall and then move to Conlon in the spring. The housing application will be changing to the new and improved system talked about earlier today, and hopefully the form will be released by the end of March, early April. Lastly, some of the LLC locations are moving, such as the Honors LLC. For first years, it is moving to Davis, and then for the rest of the LLC, it will be moving to the first floor of University Hall. Jedi Housing is also moving, and it will be moving to New Hall permanently. And then finally, the Arts and Music Department will be fully moved into Dickinson first floor. And I hope you guys slay on your midterms and have a slaytabulous spring break.
Thank you, Angelina. Are there any questions, comments, concerns for Angelina Casella? Seeing none, thank you, Angelina. And now for your Vice President's report of academic life, Sarah Harrington.
Hi everyone, I hope you all had a good week since I last saw you. Provost and I met last week on Thursday, February 27th to discuss some agenda items I brought to his attention. First item on our agenda was an update on the dean searches. He said that they were going well after receiving over 100 candidates. They are planning to narrow it down to about 3 to 5 who will then come to campus for interviews, including lunches with students. If you are interested in sitting in one of these lunches, let me know and I can give the provost your name. Next, we discussed the Success Fund. During the time of our meeting, the plan was to make a decision for who would be taking the job of Assistant Provost for Educational Excellence and Retention to oversee the funds, but as of yesterday, it was announced. Was it announced?
What?
Hillary Sackett-Taylor would be taking on this role.
Oh.
There will be listening sessions with faculty for ideas of how to use this money. I have mentioned doing this with students as well, and we are working to fit the provost into our schedule to come down and talk to us soon. I brought up the idea of using this money to start a shadowing program on campus, and the provost really likes this idea, and he'll be gauging interest on the faculty side while Ali and I work to do this on the student side. After this, we moved on to a conversation about AUC's discussion of 400 level courses. This was an initiative that the provost had brought up when he originally came to the institution, which would receive resistance at first, so he's very happy that this is moving forward. To his understanding, we have never had 400 level courses at Westfield, and that has been a process that just continued on. Other schools and people who do not attend Westfield or know about Westfield most likely are not aware that we do not have 400 level courses. So this can mean that if someone is viewing a list of courses that you took and seeing that there are no 400 level courses, could lead to them thinking that this was a choice. Most schools have 400 level courses, so this might just appear as a lack of effort rather than our institution not having them, for those people who don't know. So overall, this is extremely beneficial, especially to students. We then moved on to a conversation about the registrar forms being digitized on DocuSign. The provost was recently informed that all these forms have been uploaded or need to be uploaded into envelopes on DocuSign. These envelopes cost money, and he has been made aware that it is now totaled up to $30,000. So he plans on discussing this matter with the cabinet, as this is a lot of money and should not fall on city government. Lastly, I asked him about the recent executive orders regarding diversity, equity, and inclusion. I want to thank Isabella Moniz for bringing this to my attention, because to be brought to him, as it's a very important matter at this time. As of right now, he does not have a lot of answers, but knows that institutions that are engaging with DEI are at threat of losing funding. If Westfield were to lose federal aid, we would not survive. In terms of majors and courses, faculty have academic freedom as to what is being taught within the curriculum. The provost has made a point to say that he will defend all of his faculty in this regard. Jenica will continue to work with affinity groups, and her role will stay as it is right now. And the provost, as well as our attorney, Melinda Phelps, are monitoring the executive orders to be as on top of them as possible, although there's a lot of uncertainty. But it is important to remember that as of right now, all of the executive orders are being challenged in court. I know that right now might be a difficult time for many, and I want you to know that I'm here for all of you to talk about it or just to listen. Even though Justin stole the whole song thing, your song of the day is "Where's the Love" by the Black Eyed Peas. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Are there any questions, comments, concerns for Sarah Harrington? Ollie Sutherland?
Just a quick point about the shadow thing. Thank you for bringing that up. I really appreciate it. Part of the idea and thought process, when you guys speak with your constituents about this, is sometimes trying to find, if it's not already in your course program, sometimes trying to find people to shadow, whether it be teachers or what have you, can be kind of difficult because everyone is busy, especially since on some level you're asking these people to take you on and teach you for free. So our thought process is trying to get something like this started so that way it can help everyone at the institution.
Thank you, Ollie.
I said thank you.
Are there any further questions, comments, concerns for Sarah Harrington? Seeing none, thank you, Sarah. And now for your Vice President's report of student equity, Lorraine Fernandez.
Had a great start to the week so far. Are excited for the break next week. I wish you all a happy spring break and can enjoy the time to actually take a break and unwind. I'm definitely looking forward to that. Tomorrow, Wednesday, March 5th at 3 p.m. I'm meeting with Jenica Spitz-Gaznola, Director of the Office Belonging and Inclusion Learning. We will be discussing various topics such as the recruitment of the BD Equity Committee, which will hopefully be meeting after spring break on Thursday, March 20th at 4 p.m. As of right now, there are about 6 members on the committee, including myself. And I shall be sending out an email once I've confirmed the room where the meeting will take place. In addition, we'll be discussing the logistics and organization of the collaborative events to celebrate Women's History Month, hosted by their own office, the class of 2027, and an event hosted by yours truly, which will be titled The Art of Being a Woman. The event is envisioned as an art expression workshop where each participant or student will receive a canvas to paint a piece that reflects what being a woman means to them. The plan is to include a guest speaker, hopefully either a faculty member specializing in women's studies or another expert who can provide some opening remarks and, if possible, stay throughout the whole event. After the art pieces are completed, we would have some type of open dialogue, allowing the students to share their pieces and their stories behind them. This would be a wonderful opportunity for reflection, creative expression, and meaningful discussion. And I believe it could be a powerful way to celebrate Women's History Month. The event is scheduled for Wednesday, March 19th, from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Owl's Nest, right across the hall from this room. If there's any questions or would like to collaborate in either the committee or the event, please email me, send me a message on Teams, or just talk to me after our meeting. I'm also open to sit down and have more of a one-on-one conversation to discuss the previously mentioned projects or anything else. Thank you.
Thank you, Lorraine. Are there any questions, comments, concerns for Lorraine Hernandez?
Joseph O'Neill.
Hi, Lorraine. Congratulations on working on this project. I look forward to seeing what it's going to turn out to be and all the art pieces. I think that's really exciting. It's a great way to put an interdisciplinary approach to your work. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Of course. Are there any further? Seeing none, thank you, Lorraine. And now for your Vice President's Report of Finance, Daniel Currier.
Oh, yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Again, this is Austin's report, not mine. It is Dan Owl Camp. Can you get my report? Well, Austin, yes, I can. Due to the upcoming spring break, a finance proposal was brought before the Executive Council to be reviewed. The History Club is requesting that SGA fund 50% of the transportation costs for their trip to the FDR home in Hyde Park, New York. They have reserved two 15-seat passenger vans from Surratt Ford, totaling $291.98. The estimated mileage cost at 260 miles round trip is $364, bringing the total cost to $655.98. The club is requesting SGA cover $327.99, or 50% of these costs. The request was sent in on time and complies with applicable bylaws. Right now, we have just over $30,000 in our allocation pool. With that in mind, the Executive Council voted 6 yes, 0 no, 1 abstention to fund the full $655.98 amount. Given this change, tonight's vote will require a 2/3 majority vote. Therefore, is there a motion to authorize the transfer of $655.98 to the History Club?
So moved.
Second.
So it's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions, comments, concerns on the motion? Sarah Harrington?
Dan, I remember us talking in our meeting yesterday about just funding in full instead of a specific amount in case they're planning on getting food.
600.
But we discussed not setting a specific amount.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So I'd like to just rephrase the motion. Is there a motion to authorize the transfer of up to $655.98 to the History Club?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions, comments, concerns on this motion? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the allocation?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Aye.
Allocation approved.
And please feel free to email Austin at dtfinance@SGA, Westfield@MA.edu.
Thank you, Daniel Courier. Are there any questions, comments, concerns for Daniel Courier, subbing for our VP of Finance? Seeing none, thank you, Daniel Courier.
Go Birds.
And now for your Vice President's Report of Publicity, Elizabeth Mercer.
This senator has gone above and beyond in their first year on the Senate. Their positive attitude and radiating enthusiasm is felt when they enter the room and in every meeting they attend. Their attendance at the State of Campus, as well as this past weekend's Accepted Students Day, did not go unnoticed by the exec board. Sitting on multiple committees, class council, rules and regs, student affairs, Owlball, and Blue Key is a weight that can be overwhelming, but she handles it with grace. Today's Senator of the Month goes to drum roll.
Are there any questions, comments, or concerns of Elizabeth Mercer? Seeing none, thank you, Elizabeth. And now for your Executive Secretary report, Jacob Constant.
Hello, everyone. I hope you all had a great weekend. And I hope you have a great start to your week. I want to reiterate that there is no office hours this week because I'm canceling them due to everyone having midterms. And then I also want to announce that Senator John Lewis will be down to speak with us after spring break, and it will be a dress-up meeting when he comes. And then if you have any questions, please let me know.
Are there any questions, comments, or concerns for Jacob Constant?
Joseph Bonian.
Just a point of information, thank you, Jacob, for providing that. I will let you guys all know either later this week or during break what day exactly Senator Vilas is coming. We anticipated getting a particular day, but I was in contact with his scheduler, the director of community engagement or something for his office, and we've been playing phone tag, so we're solidifying a date. But that information will be out relatively soon. Evelyn Ayo.
You already addressed my concern. That was my question, so.
Okay, thank you. Isabella Moniz.
Hi, Jacob, thank you. I just have a question about the agendas that are coming out lately. I've been noticing that there's been a little bit of mess ups with people's names not being on them and then they're reporting. I was just wondering if we could maybe look at our agendas before we print them out to have them fixed a little bit better, because Justin's name was not on there and then he was talking, but this isn't just the only time that this has happened.
So I told Jacob like probably 20 minutes before the meeting started, so we had everything already prepped and ready. So that's on me, not him.
No, I know. This just isn't the only time that that's happened, and then it's like confusing for everyone else in the room.
Joseph Bonian.
Just a point of information for the group. Thank you for bringing that to light. Unfortunately, due to the circumstances of some people sending in the reports later, sometimes it might become a little harder for Jacob to, get all those names on there. And sometimes we anticipate some people. So, there is a little bit of flexibility for the agenda because, we put it down and then we see where it goes. But yeah, thank you.
And then for the mix-up with Dan, it's one of the only times he hasn't reported on Board of Trustees. I thought he was so, apologies.
Are there any further questions, comments, or concerns for Jacob Constant? Seeing none, thank you, Jacob. And now for your Rules and Regulations Committee report, Ethan Haynes.
The Rules and Regulations Committee met a couple times last week. First on Wednesday to discuss, I'm not using this yet, I'm just getting ready for later. Rules and Regulations Committee met 2 times last week. The first one being on Wednesday to discuss a club constitution, just a single one, the Westfield State Physical Therapy Club. I should have sent that out with the edits attached on Monday at noon. It should have gone out on the dot, that's scheduled. And so we recommend approval unanimously from the committee, and I'm asking for a motion to approve pending the edits of the Westfield State University Physical Therapy Club.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions, comments, concerns on the approval of the physical activity?
Physical therapy.
Physical Therapy Club? No? All right. All in favor of approving their constitution?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Aye.
The club constitution for the Physical Therapy Club has been approved.
Slay. Second item of business that we met for on Friday was for tonight's longest part, which is going to be Constitution Review. Rules and Regulations Committee, while it does not have to recommend the Constitution for approval, I did request that it was recommended for approval. It just has to be checked over usually, but again, a unanimous vote. With only one absence, we recommended approval to the full committee, to the full body, and we will get to that in a little bit later tonight.
Beautiful. Are there any questions, comments, concerns for Ethan Haynes? Seeing none, thank you, Ethan. And now for your junior class report, Travis McLaughlin.
All right, another nomination. I move to nominate Raul Rosario as a junior class council representative for the remainder of the semester.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to appoint Raul Rosario as a representative for the class of 2026. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns on this motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Aye.
Congratulations, Raul.
Moral coming after spring break from the class of 2026. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Travis. Are there any questions, comments, concerns for Travis McLaughlin? Seeing none, thank you, Travis. And now for your first year class council report, Jacob Trainer.
So we're probably not going to be out here by 7, but I need to watch the Bruins, so let's hurry this up, guys. All right, so the class of 2028 met last Tuesday, February 25th, as well as earlier today, where we discussed future events that we hope to put on. We are currently in the works of putting on a penny war between Courtney and Davis Hall. We will have water jugs posted outside the desks of both halls where students are able to drop change into these jars. The hall that raises the most money is to receive an ice cream social, we called it. Just like an ice cream bar, if anyone doesn't know what an ice cream social is. We're currently waiting on the okay from ResLife and the RDs of these halls, but hopefully that will go through without a problem. We also discussed having a kickball tournament of sorts in April as the weather gets nicer. We don't have any set dates or anything on that yet, but more information should be coming out about that probably after spring break. Also, as Angelina has already pointed out, we are trying to get a table at Relay for Life. So if you're in attendance, please look out for us. We'll see how long you can jump rope or hula hoop, I believe we discussed. That's it.
Wonderful, thank you so much, Jacob Trainer. Are there any questions, comments, concerns for Jacob Trainer? Anderson, Delaire?
I have a question about your coin thing. You're collecting coins, correct?
Yeah.
Where are you going to put that? Because we both live in Courtney. There's a good chance that's going to get stolen. How would you make sure that that doesn't happen?
So our plan was to have it in front of the desk until the last RA is on duty, and they will put it in lock it up in the residential director's office, I believe.
I'm so sorry. We would have to put it in the RA office. We don't have access to Victor's office or the RD office. But yeah, we can do that for you for sure.
Perfect.
Thank you, Anderson. Sarah Harrington.
Congrats on your first presidential report.
Are there any further questions, comments, concerns for Jacob Trainer? Ethan Hands?
Hi, Jacob. Hi. How's it going, buddy?
Great.
I'm good. I'm awesome. Thanks for asking. Just as a suggestion, we had something similar to this back home, and we called it Jar Wars.
Jar Wars.
Little play of Star Wars.
I love it.
Just as a suggestion.
I think we'll have to look into that. Somebody write that down.
Are there any further? Seeing none, thank you, Jacob Trainer. And now, is there any unfinished business? Seeing none, is there a motion to move for a 5-minute recess to eat pizza?
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions, comments, concerns on this motion? Seeing none. Travis McLaughlin. I'll accept that as a friendly amendment. Is there a motion to? Are there any questions, comments, concerns on this motion? 10. All right. All in favor to move for a 10-minute recess, ending recess at 6:32? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Recess confirmed. Let's go.
Let's go. That was a beautiful idea. That was beautiful.
Oh, today. Yeah, we're making it. I think we have 3 shots. Something in there. He's too energized. He's not gonna sleep tonight. You're not gonna sleep tonight. If I had 3 coffees, I'd be awake till Saturday. Yeah. I'd be awake till Saturday. If I had a dental refresher at 9 a.m., I can walk
I call back to order our meeting. I call our meeting back to order. Is there a motion to open new business?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions, comments, concerns on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? New business is open.
All right, party people. No,
Sorry.
no, you're good. Get your food. Also, I made this clear to Joseph. If you at any point during this little spiel I'm about to give, that's going to take a while, please feel free to get up, stretch, get some water, go to the restroom. I will not take offense to it. Anyways, thank you. Gimme. Thank you. You're welcome. Constitutional Committee has met. Constitutional Review Committee has met several times over the fall and spring semesters. After the fall semester concluded, we reached over 100 pages of amendments, and we weren't even done yet. I was speaking to Associate Dean Shannon Green earlier this week. She mentioned that this was likely the most comprehensive constitutional review process this body has seen in well over a decade. And because of that, I did write a little note for everyone that was on the committee. Every single person on this committee that is listed above, Justin Wald, Jacob Trainer, Barney Garcia, Bruce Sharma, Daniel Courier, Arita Mahita, and I could not have done it without him. So I did prepare a little note, as past parliamentarians have in their report on the constitutional review process. This committee was an absolute dream team. The work in the next 138 pages would not have been possible without the team listed above. I hope whoever is next to update the Constitution in 3 years' time has such a great team as I did. I was given a committee where I only really knew 2 people. I left with 4 new friends and with a lot of laughs. We had a lot of fun on this committee. And I know we all kind of were sad that the committee did come to an end. It was a really good time. To Dan, you were the first executive council member I ever met on Westfield State Campus at New Student Orientation. And you are the first one that I still remember being around, and I cannot thank you for your guidance and assistance on this enough. To Justin, you have been one of my best friends since the past year and a half. You've grown on me a lot like a fungus, and I cannot thank you enough, and I really hope that we get to live together next year again. Jacob, Mr. Trainer, Mr. New president of Class 28, I see an enormous amount of potential in you. I expect great things from you in the coming years. Next year's my last semester, so I would like to see that semester. I want to see you blossom like a flower. Peru, I'm glad I finally got to meet you. You've always been kind of a little bit of a wallflower, but this committee, you and I have always sat right next to each other, and I've absolutely loved getting to know you. Ermini, you always come in with a positive attitude. You're always just trying to make everyone just happy and make people laugh. Barney, where's Barney? I don't see you. There you are. You're not in your usual spot. Barney, again, I've had some classes with you these past few semesters here, this semester included. You've been an amazing person and student in both areas. Along with that, you are an incredibly bright individual, and I cannot wait to see what you do next year, because I know you're plotting something. I don't know what it is, but I'm excited. There's no way this school, or this organization specifically, can truly thank you for all the work you all have done, and how valuable all your input was to this process. I know I will not forget it. So without further ado, we're going to get into this. Now, how this is going to work, because this is 143 pages long, I am not going to read every single word on every single page, because that's just too much for me and too much for you all. So we're going to give a general synopsis of what each amendment is, and then if there's questions, please put your hand out, just because stopping at every time will just prolong this process. Clear? Dope. Constitution number 2024-01. Current language providing partnership. We decided we wanted to add a set of values, responsibilities, fill in any missing words, Dan, Justin, or anyone else on the committee, values, principles, leadership. I wanted to make sure that this was done to the committee, and I also want to make sure it's pointed out to the full Senate. You're going to see 7 values under section 3. Each one was provided by a member of the committee. So they all have their personal little fingerprint on it because I felt they deserved that. So just to provide what SGA strives to achieve, provide a driven vision for the future. If there's any questions, again, just point them out as we go. I'm taking this off. Ex officio, we're removing some of this language and moving it to the appendix. I realized I forgot to do that on the final document, but this is in the report, so it should be fine. So we're just moving all this to the appendix just to make sure that if it needs to be updated at any given point. I know, Sarah, you gave out a SGA dictionary earlier in the year. This is so then that can be actually codified in the Constitution and also changed as needed. Cool, just want to make sure no questions. We also just add a few words here and there. Article 4, Section 1, subsection B, all representatives must be elected from and part of their respective constituency. We added appointed because some of you are appointed, and we want to make sure that you are protected in the Constitution. SGA members serve in their position. We just made sure to clarify that and added in that the student trustee and the VP of finance are a little bit longer just due to fiscal responsibilities. And also just to clarify the terms, because as Dan pointed out during the review sessions, that sometimes things stretch out a bit further for financial years, right? Thank you. SGA members are required to apply to everything. Originally, we wanted to make sure that everyone was classified under this. SGA members accepting ex officio status assume all rights and responsibilities. Because we're moving the ex officio out of the actual Constitution and the appendix, technically, SGA exec members are exempt from all those bylaws. No, we can't do that. So everyone's going to make sure to help the same exact standard. I need to fill out that article. Student senators are active role models. We just reworded it just to make sure that we're following proper protocol and rules apply equally to everyone, senators and executive council members as well. We are changing the name of the Vice President of Student Equities role to the Vice President of Student Belonging and Inclusion. So you're getting a new title. You're also getting a new title, Elizabeth. Vice President of Publicity is changing to Vice President of Community Engagement and Outreach. Again, just to clarify the role, because sometimes the roles are in just name-wise are a little odd. We are also changing Dan's role. Dan currently serves as the student representative to the Board of Trustees. We are just changing it in our Constitution to student trustee because that's what we all know Dan Howelkamp as. We are also changing my role a little bit. Any future parliamentarians? Sorry, Justin.
No, you're good. Back to the publicity role, it includes community engagement. Does this mean that Elizabeth's role will now be absorbing the current role of Eva?
I'm very glad you asked that. Yes. So because we are eliminating the role that you currently serve in, Mr. Ballinson, a lot of the roles that you serve and the hats you wear will be absorbed under Elizabeth. You are staying on SGA for the year. You are not off. We love you. Hearts. But yes, in the future, going forward, the VP of Community Engagement and Outreach will be taking up a lot of the responsibilities that the current member does. Where was I? Here. Parliamentarian, myself, Justin, and Liam, I think we can all vouch for this. Being Carly is an amazing job. We loved it. I mean, I know I loved it so far. Liam, I'm assuming you loved it. Issue is, the definitions of the role are kind of weird because you're part of the exec team, but you're also not. And so a lot of confusion comes in with like exec meetings. And every Monday right now, the executive council meets. The parliamentarian is always invited usually, but we want to make sure that does clarify going forward that the parliamentarian is invited to those meetings at all points. We also wanted to strike above, we also got rid of some positions that haven't been filled in forever, such as the diversity inclusion representative to represent diverse and inclusive backgrounds. Community relations and fundraising representative.
Yeah, I'll clarify because I know there might be some questions about that. So that was before, so that was something that was supposed to be removed 3 years ago because of the new VP of equity role. That was really what the VP of equity would be doing. Well, it's like it was on the legislative role, kind of like comp funds. It was not removed 3 years ago. So it needs to be removed. We are going to have unity council reps as well in there, and there's also some other reps that will include like some first generation college students, transfer, stuff like that. So it'll be a well-represented legislature.
Thank you for clarifying, Dan. Like I said, there's a lot of information in this. Dan, Justin, and other members of the committee, Irene, Peru, Barney, and I'm missing someone, Jacob. feel free to, like, if you have a point of information, just let me know. Comp fund, we already went over that. Who wants to work with me? SGA club representative, for faith, heritage, and identity club specifications, we're removing that. Again, same reason as before, when you just mentioned that it's just a role that has not been filled in years and it's just taking up a slot, and we'd rather allocate that spot to positions that would be filled, so those voices are still being heard.
Yeah, so just to note, he's gonna go through them, all club reps, it's not just for this one, it's all club reps are going away. Club reps, how it used to be was that all clubs in that category would elect a club representative. We did that my first year, and has never been filled since. You're gonna see new positions come up, and that's where it's gonna be filling these roles.
Thank you, Dan. Just as Dan said, another club representative being struck from the Constitution, another one, and another one. Who says that?
I did.
Thank you. Another one, DJ Khaled, that's what his name is. Another one. We are also making sure that language is being updated. Right now, current Constitution under Article 4, Section 2, subsection B, number 9, clause 9. I'm incorrect on that language there. For students from university, student of color council shall be appointed to the student color council. We are just updating the language from color council to unity council, because color council is not a thing anymore. And then we're also we're also adding into executive council positions that you are allowed to serve as an SGA exec member if you are expected to graduate early. Currently, that is not allowed, and that's a little bit of an issue for members who would like to early grad. And we would like to make sure that voices are being heard regardless. Changing language again, town hall meetings to open forums. We haven't had town halls in years, correct me if I'm wrong, Dan. But we have had open forums the past couple of years, and we'd like to keep that going forward. Shall adhere to attendance bylaws. This is for exec, again, just to make sure that we're codifying that exec is held to the exact same standard that everyone else in this room is held to. We're also adding in applicable events to, I don't have a copy of the Constitution up here with me. Dan, if you could check. Article 5, Section 2, subsection K.
I think this is for everybody, so this is just general roles, so they shall attend events and functions applicable to their role.
Christopher Lennon?
Can we just go back to the early graduation? Can you be elected as an SGA member or an exec member and then leave like in the fall semester when you graduate? Or?
This is specifically for executive. Excuse me. So yes, to answer your question, yeah. If you're graduating early, you will not be penalized. We want to make sure that's clarified. Do you have something, Justin?
Ethan Mallinson?
Thank you. I was wondering how that would affect voting and like, because you have to vote in exec. I was wondering what the process for getting a new exec partway through the year would be. Of course, we have had instances in the past. In 2022, we had the VP of Student Life who had to leave his position, and then we followed the constitutional process to fill that position, in which it was a series of interviews by the executive council team, a recommendation by the exec team, and then notification to the full Senate. I don't believe that has been changed. Dan, do you have something?
Yeah, so we are going to put in, it's not in this final report because it wasn't put in, but afterwards we are going to put an amendment in. It was sent to you all via email about vacancies. So how it will work is that the executive council will do interviews. There will be a nomination of a candidate to the Senate. A 2/3 vote by secret ballot would be required to confirm. So that would be in the vacancies required for Senate, just the way we've been doing it, 50% at this point.
Thank you, Dan. Moving on. There we are. Shall serve as liaison to all relative committees under Appendix A. Right now, Appendix A, as everyone I'm sure hopefully knows, currently has committee assignments for all members, including a VP of programming that we also struck out in several areas, just to make sure that all exec members are sure to know where to look for their specific committee assignments, especially for like the parliamentarian for rules and regs, VP of student life for like res life and dining services, items like that, and then they can designate as they see appropriate. Shall call and preside over executive council meetings for the president, shall preside over executive council meetings. This is just changed because the current constitution right now, and we do see that this is appropriate. The executive council, if I believe it's 4 or more members agree, they can call an executive council meeting. We're just making sure that the language is matching up more than anything. And I had that in twice because I copied and pasted. This was a very long process. Ex officio member on all SGA committees, strike above language. This is going to be for all SGA executive members, just to make sure, because in Joseph's role right now, technically right now, you are an official voting member on every single committee. I don't know the amount of committees we have off the top of my head, but I know it's a lot. And I would like to take some of that stress off your plate and make sure it's evenly distributed so that everyone's voices are being heard and you're not stretching yourself too thin. Shall have the right to make a final statement on all questions for the legislature previous to the final vote. We recommended to strike the above language. This is to ensure that SGA members aren't going to be told how to vote right before they do, or on any questions that are presented on a resolution, or even just anything at all. Make appointments to the Phil Executive Council, 3 weeks, within 3 weeks of vacancies, striking that above language to ensure SGA members aren't going to be told how to vote. Again, same as before. Presidential vetoes, we are updating it. Right now it's saying that a physical piece of paper has to be posted on the door of Joseph's office. It is 2025, email has been a thing for years now. We would like to update the language of the 21st century. Again, we wanted to make sure that we're updating things. I know one big thing that Joseph's been big on this year is community engagement and outreach to students and community engagement as a whole. So we made it so right now, you, Joseph, have to establish posts and spend a minimum of 5 hours per week in the SGA office. If this is approved, you shall establish posts and be available for meetings at a minimum of 5 hours so that the students can schedule it with you so you don't have to be tied down. So to make sure you can go to class, study, and also just be a student. I've always been big on that. We're also upping the requirement to be the president of SGA from 1 semester to 1 academic year. This is just to make sure because times do change. Things happen throughout the semester that do prevent students from seeing the full job load of the president. As Joseph knows, it's a very busy and demanding job, and we want to make sure that everyone who is running for president is very aware of what they're getting into, and not just, I'm just going to run just for fun. We're also going to add into a new requirement that you would have to meet with the university president on a routine basis, and that goes for any president, of course, moving forward. I'm just using Joseph as an example. We are also just moving things around a little bit. Right now, Article 5, Section 3, Subsection B, Clause 2, Justin would assume the duties of president in the absence of Joseph. We're just making a subclause just to make sure that it's consistent. We just don't see the need to have 2 separate ones. Shall monitor, report all relevant issues of student life for Justin, combining clauses, excuse me. Shall be a member of the Student Affairs Committee. And then we're also, right now, Justin, you're on the Student Affairs Committee. We're saying that you're still a member of that, but you are able to appoint members as needed in case something comes up that you need more voices on. We're also striking the language that says, shall approve and help set all SGA committees falling under the Vice President of Student Life. Just not really needed. I don't think that's been done for years. It's not really worth the time. Shall model the work of all committees falling under the Vice President of Student Life. Again, not really needed. Just a waste of ink. Shall be an ex officio non-voting member of all SGA committees. Again, same as with Joseph. Justin, that's a lot of committees to vote and sit on and be informed on, so we're not requiring that of you. And that goes for all exec positions. I just want to make sure that was clear. Shall serve as liaison to health services and counseling services. Pretty much the same thing. We're just making sure that it's just all applicable student life areas, because it's just citing that only health services and counseling services. There's a lot of other areas that are affected under the student life umbrella. Again, copied and pasted because I love my Control C, Control V. Wow, I'm really good at that. Shall assume the duties of president in their absence, following the ask the Vice President of Student Life and the President. This is for Sarah's current role, the VP of Academic Life. Again, just creating a subclause. Shall monitor all relevant issues and report to the Senate. We're changing the legislature. Right now, you are all representatives and you are known as the legislature. We are changing you all to senators who serve in the Senate. That's all. That's all this amendment's going to be. And there will be another language about that later. Again, you don't have to be in all committees anymore, Sarah. I got you. Got you. Just do teaching stuff. And then going into Austin's current role, VP of Finance, shall assume the duties of president in the absence of Joseph, Justin, and Sarah. Austin become president, just again merging into a subclause. Again, striking non-voting member of all SGA committees. Shall co-chair and oversee the SGA club representative. We are just, right now it says, shall co-chair and oversee the SGA club representative committee with the VP of programming. None of us here have ever been a VP of programming that I'm aware of. That is not a position. That was removed
2020?
So actually, just real quick, I don't even think we need this. We actually got rid in the Constitution. I think when we were discussing it. The club president community is no longer a thing.
You're right.
We actually removed it from the bylaws.
You're right.
So just to note that.
Thank you, Dan. Again, this was a very working document and
Oh, you're good.
It's been a very long process. Article 5, Section 3, Subsection F, this is my favorite amendment. Subsection to be relettered to subsection E because E comes before F. It's my favorite one, in my mind. Again, shall assume the duties, just codifying the line of succession. So VPs come and go, and then it goes to exec sec, then Mr. Jacob here, and then it goes to Dan, and then it goes to, no, I'm coming before.
Dan's last.
Dan is last.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's a lot of things to remember about this. But no, we're just codifying the line of succession just to make sure it's clear for future purposes. Shall be responsible for monitoring the SGA demographic makeup. This is under Lorraine's current role. We don't really see it as a major point in your role for continuing forward. Just another thing for you to do rather than take some off your plate. Again, same thing. No more on-all committees. You all are welcome up here. I got you. Again, just moving some language around, just making sure the line of succession is codified. And then under VP of Program Outreach and Community Engagement, that's what the word is, shall be responsible for publicity related to SGA. We're just making sure that all the VPs have the exact same first clause, which is shall assist the president in all duties as they are vice president. Just making sure our language is consistent. Again, codifying the line of succession. We're already on page 60. Wow. And then we're also changing some language. Currently, clause 2 under subsection F of Article 5, section 3. It does have the line of succession, but we are instead changing it since we moved that up to shall create a comprehensive marketing strategy going forward for the SGA, just to make sure that all of our events are being properly published, and also we can maybe help out again with other events on campus potentially, opening up possibilities. We are changing Center of the Week to Center of the Month officially. I don't know the last time we did Center of the Week, probably around Dan's first year, if not before, because the main goal of the Senator of the Month or Senator of the Week is to get to the senators that truly deserve it rather than just everyone. Shall be responsible for the timely preparation of senator name tags and everything. Currently, that falls technically under Elizabeth's role, VP of Publicity, but in fact, Jacob has been doing that because that just usually is seen as an exec sec responsibility. We're just making sure that it's codified. Again, non-voting member on everything. We are then just changing subsections around. Again, adding in parliamentarian as an executive council member. And then we are again codifying all this language. Parliamentarian being moved to executive office, has the responsibilities that come with it. Anderson Delaire.
I have a question. Does that mean parliamentarian will get voted on this spring by everyone?
Great question. No.
Oh.
The parliamentarian is seen as a member of the legislature first and foremost. And 99% of the role is going to stay the same. It's just going to be known as an executive council role so that they are sure they know what their responsibilities are. They have to continuously work with the executive council on a lot of matters. I know this year, especially the parliamentarian, and I think last spring as well, Justin, correct me if I'm wrong, the parliamentarian worked really closely with the executive council. And so it just makes sense for someone who's working with them on a day-to-day basis that they are going to be known as an executive council member as well, but have the responsibilities that come with it, including going to executive council meetings on Mondays. Justin?
Just to share a little extra, if anybody's confused about this. When I became parliamentarian, he left me a nice little message, and he said that I was elected for and by the senators. So that's also another thing. We can't have last year's senators electing this year's parliamentarian because then who is he serving? Not you guys, but them. So that's just a little more rational.
Yes, Justin.
And just a point of information for everyone. Ethan's role, or the role of parliamentarian, is, I mean, at least significantly important to me. Ethan serves as general counsel a lot. I'm like, what does this mean in the Constitution? And we typically have debates on whether this means this or that. I absolutely agree with this.
I'm happy to report that you're not the only person to do that. Shannon Green asked, there are a large amount of questions.
Yeah.
Again, just making sure that everything's being accordingly under the parliamentarian's role, just renumbering stuff, nothing major changes here. Again,
moving around roles just to keep in line with succession inside the Constitution, because right now it's kind of a little all over the place. So we're making sure that as you read it down, that's how the line of succession goes. So go president, VP of student life, VP of academic life, VP of finance, VP of publicity, VP of student equity, and then VP of public outreach, and then exec sec, and then Parley, and then Mr. Dan Courier, Dan Allingham, as we like to call him.
So, question.
Yes.
If that's a line of succession, does that mean that the parliamentarian is no longer vice chair
of
the Senate meetings? I mean, you technically serve in that capacity.
I think that
No,
because
that doesn't affect it.
Yes,
It's just if the president position is absent, VP of.
Right,
So
right.
that takes it up. If both of them are absent, academic life steps up the president.
Yes, that
So on
would-
and so forth. If we all mysteriously disappear, like designated survivor, and the only one left is the parliamentarian and the trustee, then the parliamentarian becomes president.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, does that make sense, Joseph?
Yes, it does. I just wanted to clarify.
I'm sorry that this is a really boring report. I apologize. So I'll serve on all standing committees assigned by the chair of the board of trustees for the current role for Dan. Again, just updating stuff for the appropriate language. We want to make sure this was comprehensive and to make sure that when I was typing it out and drafting everything would go into place like Legos. Again, renaming Dan's role to student trustee from student representative to the board of trustees. It's a little bit of a mouthful. We would like to slim that down a little bit. Making sure that, again, everything is just following the same exact format regardless of position. I'm just checking for questions. Cool. Shall attend all annual meetings of board of trustees. Again, we're just moving items around. Nothing is changing from this responsibility. Dan, you're still expected to go to all regularly scheduled board of trustees meetings. Of course. You better give us a really good report on them or I'm gonna be upset. Again, same exact thing, just moving things around into their new home. We are also asking that all relevant information be reported to the executive council and to the Senate, being provided from the board of trustee member. Right now, technically, that's not your role, that's a little weird. And so we want to make sure that that was codified for future board of trustees members, that they do have to share what the board is doing. Shall represent Westfield State at all state meetings deemed necessary by the student trustee in conjunction with the executive council. I know Dan, I think you, Joseph, Barney, and one other member are going to the state capitol here soon. This is just part of that role, just to make sure that it is known that the student trustee is a representative of the student voice at the state level. Shall serve as the liaison between Westfield State University and Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Again, same idea. Shall represent interested student body, Westfield State, in all dealings as trustee. A lot of these just weren't in there, which I find is really weird.
Well, most of them are just moving. You just say it's
Oh.
moving from old position to new.
I'm such a silly goose.
It's okay.
I'm tired. It's been a semester. The student trustee, in order to be elected, we are establishing a requirement that you are to serve one academic year on SGA. Some people might not know what a student trustee does. Dan is an amazing trustee. I want to point that out. One of the best I think the school's ever had, next to Ryan, of course. No, but we just wanted to make sure that the trustee, whoever student was running for, knew exactly what they were getting into. Some could think this is it is a great opportunity, but it would not be a great opportunity for me.
Question. So what is the stipulation for academic year? So for example, let's say that we have someone appointed early after, I don't know, like end of October, beginning of November. Would that be considered an academic year because they exist in both semesters, or are we defining the academic year as being elected into the role?
Due to the role of parliamentarian, I would say that's going to be probably discretion unless, Dan, you have something.
We can certainly look into maybe adding something to the Constitution about, I see it as over 2 semesters, meaning that if you were appointed or elected at some point in that prior semester, that would count as that one academic year. Yep. But that's currently ambiguous in the Constitution. If we want to add an amendment at either now, late somewhere in the Constitution, or at some other point, and clarify what is meant by at least one academic year or one academic semester, then we have that.
Thank you. Christopher Lennon?
I know in one of the, I know in one of the old constitutions, I think it might have been a couple years ago, that every exec role you had to at least spend on SGA for either a semester or a year. Can I ask why we're not doing that anymore?
Mainly just to get people in the roles. I know for a VP, current role of VP of publicity, that will attract a lot of communication students and a lot of students that are interested in that level of field. So they might not be involved in SGA, but it's not going to be too far from what they would have done otherwise. The role of president, very demanding role. Obviously, we've seen that the past three, you and I, Chris, have seen that the last 3 years with Aaron, Nick, and now Joseph. Very demanding role, so that's why we're adding that requirement. We're adding it for student trustee because, again, those meetings are very long. Dan, you had something?
Yeah, I think in con review, and I don't know if it's included in this document, I believe we added the requirement of 1 semester for Justin's role and 1 semester for your role.
Yes.
So is that in this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And as a point of information, this is not about gatekeeping or anything. It really just comes down to the fact that, like, I mean, when I chose to run for president, I was on Senate for 2 years prior, and I'm very glad that I took a board position as vice president of student equity because I don't think I would have been prepared for the demands of the role. You really do learn a lot, and it's really good for you to get that experience. So, like the half semester roles are, good ways to learn what it is like to engage in that environment and then go into the e-board role. I mean, those other e-board roles like president or student trustee.
100%, I can't agree anymore with what you just said, Joseph.
When you say 1 full semester, does that imply someone spent like 12 or 14 weeks or something, or does that mean that they like started before a certain time in the semester? Like if I were to want a semester required role for fall 25, would I be able to since I like just joined now, or should I like wait until?
I'm going to circle back to what Dan said earlier, which is I think that's something that we could probably take a relook at as clearly defining in like an appendix area as what a full semester and academic semester mean. I think it would work best in the appendix as it wouldn't have to get the constitutional requirement that is at the discretion of the president to update the appendix as needed. So that's what I would recommend, just as your advice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Christopher Lana?
I think, I'll just use Angelina as an example. She was appointed, November, I think, right? So I think that constitutes for serving a full semester being this semester, and you are also on those 2 additional months. Then that would constitute the full semester requirement, not being appointed, let's say, in March or in February. Does that make sense?
No, I hear what you're saying, and like I said earlier, I would probably recommend that gets pointed under the appendix.
Yeah, so just so we don't go down a rabbit hole on like what we're defining as an academic year, myself, Dan, and Ethan will definitely have a conversation about that. It would be my recommendation that we define a full a semester as potentially half or more of the semester of an appointment.
And again, I'm just going to stress put that in the appendix so then it can be just added in.
Thank you.
And doesn't have to go through this process. Again, like I said, you're all going to be, if this is approved, you would all be senators. We're just changing that language. That's it. Again, updating language from legislature to Senate, updating legislature to Senate, updating legislature to Senate. Can you guess what that one was? Maybe that one too. I know I'm a funny guy. I'm here all week. Again, same exact thing. It's going to be pretty much the same thing for a lot of these amendments. I wanted to try and get into as many specifics in here as possible just to make sure and stress in this document going forward that this is the Senate, you are all senators, you are all elected to serve a full term for a general community, and it also just sounds cooler. Again, changing the language to Senate. Wow, there's a lot of that. General legislature positions. Position-specific responsibilities. I didn't change that in the Senate. Or we, I should say. All above language should be struck for community relations and fundraising representative. Again, most of these responsibilities are going to fall under the VP of publicity role or the VP of outreach and community engagement. The name always gets lost to me, I don't know why. For example, chair of NAB, SGA Executive Council to plan the annual turkey drive, chair of community relations and fundraising committee, that would all be under that new role. Diversity inclusion representative, again, we're striking this position, has not been filled in years at this point. So we're lucky to see if one in the next 5 if we kept this in, or the next 3 I should say. Again, just striking it just to make sure that we're keeping consistent with former amendments. We're also clarifying some parts of the review process for new clubs and organizations, just to make sure, because right now it's just clubs, organizations, and associations. We're just changing it to all registered student organizations. That just is everything under that umbrella. President of SGA shall be an ex officio member, Senate designee to the Rules and Regulations Committee. We voted to remove that piece of language along with removing the VP of Student Life being an ex officio member or setting a designee. Again, just to not have too many cooks in the kitchen, so to say. Currently, only the parliamentarian or VP of Finance, so either Austin or myself, are the only ones that can technically speak on behalf of the Rules and Regulations Committee. I know in the fall semester, I was asked by a committee member if they could report. I technically couldn't allow it, even though I wanted them to. I don't mind. So we're just changing it that anyone's allowed to submit a report based on the committee's report activities with the chair's approval, of course. Same pretty much with any other committee. No decision shall be made without looking at the constitution of the official. No decision shall be made by the committee without first looking at official log for previous decisions that may have been relative. We are striking that because past parliamentarians have not kept that updated, and it's impossible to even check on that anymore. I know Justin knows that. I know Liam knows that. It is impossible. You're not finding that. Risk management concerns, we're changing that for rules and regulations from risk management concerns to student safety concerns, just to make sure that we're making sure that student safety is at the forefront of the decision-making process. Yes. Oh, did you? Oh,
Sorry, I was waiting.
no, you're good. I was like, oh, I love yapping. Thank you. I thought that was funny. Again, just updating language from we're adding organization constitution to be submitted to the parliamentarian. Right now, it's not technically a requirement. I have to keep asking for it, and my fingers. The keyboard, it's a problem. I need a new one. In the event right now, if the Rules and Regulations committees can't meet, technically there's no way around it, and that's a little bit of an issue. I know we've had some concerns with certain constitutions coming before the committee where we just can't meet at that time, but we would like to get it done with it as fast as possible because we would like to get these clubs up and running. I think a great example was 2 weeks ago. We had a few members absent because of illness, and as you remember, Justin, hopefully a good amount of you, a lot of us were sick. So we're adding in an amendment to say that in the event that the Rules and Regulations Committee cannot meet, the parliamentarian, in conjunction with SGA advisors, may move some or all business to the Executive Council. This just ensures that work is still getting done regardless of if the committee can meet or not. Yes, Jake.
If I can speak on that, that is already a thing with the Finance Committee.
It is.
It just isn't a thing for rules and regs.
It is. Thank you for bringing up Finance Committee, actually. One thing that was added at the suggestion of Rules and Regulations last Friday was to add the VP of Finance on the committee to not be able to send a designee, but that they are also going to serve as vice chair of the committee, and that the parliamentarian would serve as vice chair on the Finance Committee, seeing as both roles deal heavily with clubs. So that's going to be the rationale behind that. Again, making language consistent with how we're doing. Barney, thank you again for all your work on this. I really appreciate it. You've been a massive help. Just moving language around. Again, nothing major. Then senators. And then we're updating some blue key stuff. We're now in the bylaws, page 103. Whoa. We are currently changing Dan, with all his infinite wisdom, did a complete overhaul of the Blue Key committee and also a few other areas in the bylaws, and I cannot thank him enough for that. We're adding ad hoc committees to serve on the Blue Key Awards. Vice President Community Engagement and Outreach shall propose the formation of the committee, all that fun stuff, just to make sure that everything's really consistent, and also starting it in December, if I remember right. Just to make sure that it's getting done properly, fast with font, and not going to be just at the last month and a half of the semester, so it's not rushed, and proper conversations can be had. Not much is really changing procedurally wise, if I remember right. Dan, if you want to speak on this?
Yeah, so there is actually some procedural changes. So there will be a nomination period similar to what it is now. If there are more than 10 nominations, they will whittle it down to 10 people. They will conduct interviews of each of the 10 people so chosen. And they will whittle it down and have a maximum of 6 people. Currently, they have no maximum number of awards. We think it's important that there is a maximum. We say that there should be 6. And similar to how the Board of Trustees does it with tenure and promotion, we're recommending that the recommendation from the Blue Key Committee go to full Senate, and it'd be more like a celebration, kind of like for tenure and promotion.
Perfect. And this is just to ensure that the Blue Key Award process is streamlined and offer an update to the process, just to make sure that everything is A-okay. Right now, language for signature papers for elections is a little muddy. Last Monday of March at 9 in the morning in the SGA room. We're just moving it to the second to last Friday in March, just to ensure that individuals have a proper amount of time to allocate signatures and provide a backup in case the SGA room moves to a different location where signature papers are moved. For example, hypothetically, this isn't a thing. I'm gonna point that out very specifically. It isn't a thing. It could be moved to the sale department. Hypothetically, this just provides that it's not a violation of the Constitution if it is moved. We're also just making sure that individuals have a proper amount of time to campaign with removing some language on deadlines. Right now, the language says that signature papers must be returned to the SGA room by the first Friday in April at 5 p.m. In the event that the first Friday in April falls within the same week as the release of signature papers, the deadline will be first the following Friday. That's a lot of words. We're changing it to signature papers will be due at the end of the second week of the nomination period, giving people a 14-day period to collect their signatures and providing a hard stop date. And so then it's not like, well, it's been this many days, it's been this many Mondays, it's been this many Tuesdays. It gets a little confusing, providing some clarity for everyone. Again, consistency in Senate. We wanted to make sure that any student studying abroad was able to designate a representative to fill out to represent their their signature papers. That is still a thing right now, but we wanted to make sure that we're just updating the language. Of course, I know myself, last year, I was a student studying abroad. Justin did not do this for me, and so we wanted to make sure that this was going to be done consistently and that all the rules would be followed consistently. First general meeting right now of SGA shall be held on the first Tuesday of the academic year. We did that this year, we've done that in years prior. 99% of the time works great, except this coming fall. Right now, this fall, the first Tuesday of the semester is the first day of the semester. No, students are gonna be exhausted, they're gonna be moving in. First year students are gonna be confused where everything is. So along with that, we're just making sure it's updated to the following Tuesday. So instead of being the first day of classes, it's actually the second week of classes. Just making sure things consistent and that people aren't getting stressed out. Candidates right now are not allowed to slander any other candidate. We want to make sure that that's a little clarified. Candidates may publish or post policy disagreements, but may not disrespect or slander another candidate. This is to ensure that candidates are aware to point out the differences between themselves and their opponent, if there is an opponent, but they are still not allowed to slander or disrespect another candidate running for that position. No candidate may seek out endorsements from FAB. Did you have a question?
I have a comment.
Yes, on which one?
On the previous one.
Yes.
I think that there may, it may be my suggestion to add to that amendment, decorum as defined in the Constitution being abided by any prospect senators or board members, because I think that like in previous years, that area has been very vague. And people are like, defining what is considered okay and what's not considered okay. So I think this is one of the areas where we should not be vague. We should be very concise, and we're not concise, specific.
No, 100%. That I'm sure that we could definitely work out some language on that, Dan. You and I can workshop that.
Thank you.
Right now, in the Constitution,
Can we add slander and libel?
Yeah, of course. Makes sense. No candidate right now may seek out the endorsements of faculty, staff, or librarian, excluding student staff. We want to make sure that student staff are still allowed to endorse, but only in their personal capacity. We don't feel like, I'm just going to use an example, I know the president account. President Bonilla cannot endorse, but Joseph Bonilla can. Does that make sense?
So for example, I can't post on my president's Instagram, but I can probably post on
Exactly. Just to make sure that there's a clear distinction that the person is endorsing, not the board. Again, we are just striking some, we're just moving some stuff around from subsection C to subsection D. Nothing major. This one we wanted to move because we added in, where is it? Oh, I guess I didn't add it in this before. We are codifying debates.
Yes.
That was a thing that was first introduced last year, if I remember right.
Yep.
For all contested executive council elections, there will be a 10-minute debate per position, just to make sure that the general student population is aware of exactly who they're voting for, what they stand for, who they are. What's up, Sarah?
I just want to confirm, is that going to be mandatory? Because they weren't this year, so I think that we should.
I think they should.
I personally don't feel as though there should be for, like public speaking purposes and anxiety.
Are you saying, just as a question for you on this, are you saying mandatory in the sense that if they don't show up, they're being removed from the ballot?
Yeah.
No, I don't think that would be mandatory. It would be, you're given the option to participate, you don't have to.
Because if we put the words mandatory in the Constitution, then I think that would be, from my understanding, if I saw that's mandatory, I would think if I don't do this, my vote is removed from the ballot.
I don't think the language used was mandatory, we're just codifying it so it's in there.
Okay.
So that it's an option, because right now it's not. And so what we did last year is kind of off the books, we just kind of did our own thing.
So the language is, it might not be in here, it's there shall be a debate at least 1 week prior to the election period. All rules and procedures are to be determined by the SGA advisors.
Okay.
And in addition to that, you said only contested positions. Last year, we allowed people who were uncontested to, get like a brief introduction of themselves. Could we make sure that that's also included in that?
We could definitely brainstorm that. The main idea around the debate though is just to give clarity, because if you're just the only one running,
then you're gonna win.
You're gonna win no matter what, but if you're running a contested election like you did last year, or like others did up here, just want to make sure that there is the clear distinction of 2 candidates or more candidates.
Sure.
Right now, technically, we're supposed to have in-person voting. We don't do that. We do over the internet now, since 2025. So we're taking out time and location of voting and just changing it to time of voting.
Christopher Landon?
Like, I know one thing that I got feedback for the debates last year was, can we make them live stream? And not during the SGA meeting as well, like an additional.
To that, I will say, I did speak with Matt about that, just because he was one of the moderators last year, if I remember right. He was going to send over a rule list and everything, and that is looking to be codified in the near future, shortly after this process is complete. And I can definitely talk to him to see if we can include live streams on that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, and then also, like, I know it was in place of an SGA meeting last year. I feel like that, especially around the end of the year when we have so many things to do, like that doesn't really help. So I feel like it could be like a day after.
So I can we did live stream debates last year, and it is, what is it?
We did.
Yes.
Yep.
I watched
You can find it on YouTube. And the other thing is that we discussed, I think as an exec the other day, about when would be the optimal time for debates this year. We were choosing a Wednesday, and because we don't want it to conflict with a Tuesday meeting.
Sick.
And I think this is one of those areas where, sometimes you choose to be vague in the Constitution and otherwise you choose to be very specific. This is one of the areas that you choose to be vague because like every year might be different.
Yep.
So, just.
Yeah, that's the main idea, but I could definitely stress in like a note in this report, like a footnote, that I recommend that debates be held on a non-SGA meeting. Perfect. Any other questions on that? Or
I would
comments?
like to remind the parliamentarian that it is 7:20.
Yep, I'm almost done, I promise. I'm on page 118. We're zooming through this. Again, just moving stuff. Oh, this is where we codify debates. There shall be a debate. That's the wording that is used, as not mandated, just to your point, Sarah. So students with those anxieties are not going to be forced to participate if they cannot feel comfortable. Voting location shall be mandated by non-returning SGA members. Again, we don't have in-person voting. Only matriculating full-time students are eligible to vote. We're putting only matriculating full-time students who have paid their student activity fee are eligible to vote. Just making sure that only those that paid the fee are able to vote. Sorry.
No.
To qualify for financial aid or assistance from the SGA, a registered club or organization shall have at a minimum of 10 members. That's going in the finance bylaws. Again, just to provide consistent language. Chris?
About the student activity fee, does that include students who are under 12 credits can also vote and run?
We didn't add in part-time.
I think I have I'm not sure if this is 100%, and Matt's not here, so maybe you're willing to answer this. I don't believe students that fall under a certain credit amount are able to use presence. I remember seeing that issue, so if they fall under that certain credit limit, they can't use presence, therefore they cannot access the voting form.
Yeah.
So that's not something we can change.
Could they still run?
So when you're part-time, you can't access the form, and I believe that, Maggie, please feel free to jump in whenever. Vice President Hearn had shared that he believes that, when we talked about the student activity fee and having a part-time and a full-time that we should just allow everyone the same opportunity despite being part-time or full-time. Obviously that's contentious and I think, a lot more conversations will need to be had. I could definitely bring that up during my next meeting with them, but I don't think there's a solid answer on that right now.
So one thing we did also add, it's gonna be later on in this report, is about every member of the SGA paying the student activity fee. The reason we included that is because we believe that if you are overseeing student activity fee dollars, you should have paid it yourself. And that's only available for full-time students. Part-time students, that could be a question in the future. We did propose that DGCE fee, part-time fee, that got struck down. So we'll see how this kind of plays out in the future.
Perfect. Thank you all for comments there. Again, just providing consistent language for the 10 members for Finance Committee bylaws. Currently, there is technically a student opportunity fund for students who are unable to attend certain conferences. To the best of my knowledge, Dan, has been used, not during your tenure, not during Austin's tenure or Kaolin's tenure. So since it's not being used, we just want to strike that language just because it doesn't need to be a point in having it. We are also updating the legislative accountability bylaws. If I remember right, that's what this is. Yeah, attendance. So this is just going to be a complete overhaul of attendance bylaws and a bunch of other areas. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, I know you wrote
so
this.
I can go through this a little bit more. So let's go to absences real quick. So this is for attendance. So full or half absences that will be missing a roll call. We're going to be talking about community engagement. I'll talk about that in a little bit. And then failure to attend a monthly meeting under Section 7. Your team huddle is going to be codified. You need to meet with your team huddle person once a month. That's going to be a requirement. Full absence, missing a committee meeting, or missing both roll calls. You have qualifying reasons for excused absences. I think this was actually updated.
Yes, it was. For sickness, we wanted to add in a clause that you would have to give the executive secretary 24 hours notice, or if you are unable to make that 24 hours notice, a doctor's note from health services, or I can't remember the other item that we had. Evelyn, I saw your hand.
Yes. For qualifying reasons, I would argue that religious reasons should also be added. My religion has a lot of times that make it so that I can't attend things, especially on a weekly basis. And so I think that should be a reason that's codified in the Constitution.
I don't see why not.
Thank you, Evelyn. Just as a note for the group, I think there's somewhere in the Constitution that says that we have to do everything that's legally sound, and that it is quite illegal to discriminate against someone for not attending something per religious affiliation or whatever. So please note that. But,
of course, you would never be penalized by any of us for missing for a religious event. So I want to make that very clear.
Thank you.
Sarah
Harrington?
Do the doctor's notes and things like that need to be given before the meeting? Or, because I feel.
They can, I think that'd be up to executive secretary discretion. Remind me of what we said in our rules and rights meeting, something along those lines.
Yes, it'd be up to executive secretary discretion because in reality, it might not be before the meeting, but it could come afterwards.
Yeah, because I feel like if you have a sickness that you can't come to a meeting, you shouldn't really, you're not gonna wanna go to health services across campus either, especially if you're actively getting sick, so you just make sure.
Let me add to this. So I was the person who actually requested it. I was the person that requested it because when I first looked at it, I saw sickness was just in there. And I recommended it. One, I thought it should just get removed as it being an absolute, defined in the Constitution as an excused absence because someone could just come every week and say, hey, I'm not going to be there, I'm sick. Hey, I'm not going to be there, I'm going to be sick. Personally, I think it should just be removed, but having a doctor's note or something up to the executive secretary's discretion, like how it is this year, if I'm told, for example, if I'm told, I'm like, hey, I'm sick, I'm not going to be there, I excuse it. But that's just my point of view.
It's also to provide an additional time frame so that everyone is aware of that time frame.
One thing that I would caution against is asking for specific notes and such, because that is one with HIPAA just being out there. Asking someone to disclose any medical information is not only not encouraged, but it's also just who are we to ask for notes when we're just students?
No,
that would then out people. For instance, I have a chronic illness. Obviously, I'm open about it, but asking someone to disclose that kind of information may not be productive. Isabella Moniz, you had something to share?
Yes. To add on to that, I agree. I also feel like it is invalid to question someone and their ability and their sickness, given the fact that I also have a medical issue. Sometimes it just comes on like that, and I'm not going to go to health services because they're not able to diagnose my personal illness. So I feel like you should have some leniency, and especially if students have accommodations through the Banaco Center here for that illness, specifically with leniency and attendance. I feel like that needs to be recognized when specific students are asking you for leniency with attendance when it comes to attending SGA meetings based on the premise of being sick.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Christopher Lanham?
So I think one other thing that would be appropriate to add in the Constitution would be for long-term absences such as surgery or anything really, like to appoint a designee maybe. So say next semester I was gone.
Can I just interrupt real quick? That is actually currently a thing in the Constitution.
Okay.
We are updating the language because right now, technically, any one of you can appoint someone to fill your seat for the remainder of your time. We don't really feel that's appropriate, so we wanted to update that so you could appoint a designee, but they just don't have voting power. Because your constituents elected you and not your designee.
Okay.
So trust me, that is in there. We wanted to make sure that was accounted for, but they just don't have voting power.
But like surgery too, I think would be good to add. Sort of
I think that also kind of falls under, the premise of like just sharing the sickness. So obviously extenuating circumstances, that's the excusability thing. It's something that we could add, but I think it's a little unnecessary. But is there specific language in there regarding getting a specific note with medical documentation?
That was something that was updated after the Rules and Regs meeting on Friday. I don't have the exact language on me at the moment, but we could definitely revisit that language in Rules and Regs on tomorrow.
I absolutely think so.
We can definitely do that. Any other questions, comments, or concerns on that, on attendance? All right, I'm gonna hand it back over to Dan for the remainder of this for like procedure.
Yeah, procedure doesn't change. Just if you want to contest what Jacob says about your excused absence, you go to the Rules and Regs Committee. It's currently in the Constitution. Academic responsibility. We're adding semester GPA as well, not just cumulative. So all members will have to maintain a 2.3 semester and cumulative GPA. The Associate Dean of Students already looks at the GPAs. They will look at that. Class attendance. This is just for the future. Just know we were going to add potentially about checking that you're going to class. We can't do that because faculty don't record attendance. They're not forced to. If the faculty union contract does change, we can update in the future. But for now, all members of the SGA are expected to attend their prescribed classes, except in cases covered under the academic policies of the university. Academic probation, if you are under should any member's semester GPA at the midpoint of the semester be at 2.3, or if the Associate Dean of Students, that being Shannon, believes that the member's academic performance warrants additional scrutiny, then the member shall be placed in what is called academic probation. It's not going to be the same as what it's done at the university. There's a process for appealing that. There are requirements. In the case of senators, you will meet with an executive council member once every 2 weeks, and you'll have meetings that'll be tracked by the executive secretary. For the exec members, they're meeting with an SGA advisor. Also, you'll be required to make a plan on how to get your grades up with an SGA advisor. So that's going to be that. Committees. It's the same thing, 2 committees, ideally 1 internal and 1 external. Office hours, we're getting rid of the requirement for office hours. It's going to be by appointment only. So all of your contact information, your WSU contact information should be posted on social media, in the SGA room and on the webpage. So if someone wants to have an appointment with you, they should do so. Exec, it's different. But community engagement, that's the part where it's a little bit different. So what's going to happen is you must commit up to 20 hours per academic year for community engagement. Minimum of 10 must be done each semester. And it does not reflected here, up to 2 hours per event maximum. And it's only for certain SGA sponsored things, tablings, other stuff. So it's now codified in the Constitution for this. Training, all students in the SGA will be completing certain trainings, all of them within 30 days of being appointed or elected. And starting your term, you'll be completing conflict of interest law training sponsored by the Mass State Ethics Commission. Clery Act and student threat assessment training must be provided to you. You're supposed to be completing all university required training around sexual assault and drug and alcohol prevention. That must be done by the due date. Onboarding training must be done. Any additional trainings can be subject to the Rules and Regulations Committee. Leadership Academy is codified.
For executive council.
For executive council members. Responsiveness. There's been a lot of issues with this.
You are required, you are expected to respond within 1 business day unless there's an extenuating circumstance. Student activity fee, all members need to pay their student activity fee, we can check that. And we're codifying your meetings with your executive council members and team huddles. You must meet at least once monthly.
I will remind the body that we will be ending this meeting at 7:45, so let's move forward
We
efficiently,
have
please.
just about 10 minutes left.
Thank you.
10 pages, excuse me. Club organization bylaws, we're just codifying that a little bit better, really giving a good overhaul from Dan.
So
I just want to give like a brief synopsis.
No club and organization bylaws.
Perfect. Thank you, Dan.
So those are all the committees, we're codifying all committees in the Constitution.
Yeah, so like rules and regulations, pretty much every committee that we already have. There's a lot of text here. All right, class council bylaws. We're getting to one of the last few ones now, thankfully. Class council bylaws, I know we have sister classes in there, charitable fundraising events and finances for class council. I know that Travis McLaughlin, junior class president, has been working with Matt DeLea, one of our advisors, to kind of put that into the class council constitution. And so because of that, we are encouraging that next step going forward. And we're taking that out of the SGA constitution and would encourage the class councils to add that into the class council constitution. Good luck. SGA Club Representatives Committee, again, above language being struck because that position is no longer a thing. And that's it.
I know. Well, actually,
All right.
Oh, thank you, Dan. Yes, thank you.
There were things that were actually not included in this. That includes Senate positions. I sent out an email with all those Senate positions and Senate position-specific responsibilities. I also sent out regarding vacancies. So I would move that we add those to the Constitution and bylaws with the revision around it. I know that Ali brought up the thirds. It's 2/3.
Yes, it is. Sometimes language gets a little.
No, that's cool.
Microsoft Word Online is not fun.
So there's a motion to accept the constitutional review with the amendments of the vacancies.
Well, actually,
there's a resolution.
Well, there's a resolution. We'll do that in a minute. Are we good to move forward with including those other items that were not included here?
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstentions?
Aye.
Great.
Awesome. So therefore,
we're gonna do a roll call vote for this.
I request that the SGA accepts SGA Resolution 009 to amend the Constitution and bylaws on the recommendation of the Constitutional Review Committee, Rules and Regulations Committee, and Executive Council. This was introduced by myself, being sponsored by Dan Courier, Justin Wald, Barney Garcia, Irina Mahida, Drew Sharma, and Mr. Jacob Trainer, new Class of 2028 President. Whereas the student government and Constitution require a review of the Constitution and bylaws every 3 years, and whereas the Constitution Review Committee has convened and offered its recommendations, as you all have just been given, pursuant to the Constitution and bylaws, the Rules and Regulations Committee has reviewed a set of amendments and submitted unanimously agreed to adopt the amendments with revisions, and the Executive Council has also done the exact same thing. And finally, the Student Government Association must vote on the proposed amendments at 2 successive meetings. So we'll be voting on this tonight. This is going to be the long meeting. Next time we meet on the 18th is going to be a little bit of a much shorter version of this. Therefore, be resolved, the Student Government Association, SGA, hereby approves the amendments to the Constitution with applicable revisions and authorizes the parliamentarian to make any necessary formatting changes, including applicable numbering. I am going to ask for a motion to accept this resolution.
Is there a motion? Okay, there's a motion to accept resolution 008. It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns on this motion? Seeing none, roll call. Vote.
Please answer with aye, nay, or abstain. Nicholas Palumbo?
Aye.
Anderson Delaire?
Aye.
Isabella Moniz? William Connor?
Aye.
Travis McLaughlin? Rahul Rosario? Brenna Giuliani? Aviana Lee Salters? Will Honorado? I know. Just Jacob Trainer? Cody Hoisington?
Aye.
Sophia Rubencheck?
Aye.
Melissa Kuzmeski?
Aye.
Raymond Croto?
Aye.
Barney Garcia? Ethan Mullinson?
Aye.
Ali Sutherland?
Aye.
Troy Onoso?
Aye.
Angelina Costello?
Aye.
Gian Carlos Artiega? Marissa Montero? SAC Representative? Christopher Lannon?
Aye.
Irina Mahida?
Abstain.
Benny Rosas? Evelyn Yellow?
Aye.
Dominic Zocco, Guru Sharma, Joseph Bonilla,
Aye.
Justin Wald,
Abstain.
Sarah Harrington,
Aye.
Oscar Morgan, Lorraine Fernandez,
Aye.
Elizabeth Mercer, me, I, Ethan Haynes,
Abstain.
Danny Courier.
Abstain.
Thank you all. I know that was long. I appreciate it. Go Bruins.
Well, while we don't, yeah, I mean, there was no nays, so the motion to approve resolution 008 for our constitutional review has been confirmed. Congratulations. Alrighty, moving on. Is there a motion to close new business?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions, comments, concerns on this motion? Seeing none, all in favor to close new business?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? New business is closed. All right, do we have any announcements? Ethan Haynes.
There's a picture of a handsome gentleman with a QR code to be a new student orientation leader. I would recommend signing up if you haven't considered it before. It's a lot of fun.
Are there any further? Jacob Constant.
Hello, everybody. I was gonna mention, actually, I didn't actually think I was gonna put it in my report. However, with the new constitution, I'm gonna announce the dates. If it gets approved at next meeting, signature papers will be out March 21st, which is the week we come back. It is that Friday. I'm just allowing everybody to know if the constitution does get approved, signature papers will be out that day.
Wonderful. Are there any further? Nicholas Palumbo.
73 days until commencement.
Thank you. Roll call.
Nicholas Palumbo.
Here.
Is it Anderson Delaire?
Here.
Isabella Moniz. William Connor.
Here.
Travis McLaughlin.
Here.
Rahul Rosario. Brenna Giuliani.
Here.
Brenna and Aviana Lee Salters. Jacob Trainer.
Here.
Cody Hoisington.
Here.
Sophia Rubencheck.
Here.
Melissa Kosmeski.
Here.
Raymond Croto.
Here.
Barney Garcia. Ethan Mollinson.
Here.
Ali Sutherland.
Here.
Troyo Nosal.
Here.
Angelina Costello.
Here.
Giancarlos Artiega. Marissa Montero. SAC Representative. Christopher Lannon.
Here.
Irina Mahita.
Here.
Benny Rosas. Evelyn Aiello.
Correct, here.
Dominic Zocco. Guru Sharma.
Here.
All right, if there's no additional business, I call to adjourn the March 4th meeting of the Student Government Association until our next meeting, March 18th. Meeting adjourned.
Have a great spring break, everyone.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of all of you.
Oh, boy.
Yes. So cute.